All right, another one here. Both another video and another character. The whole we're gonna release the character once every month and a half does not seem to be the case. We've now got how many characters in a very short span right now? 3 banners going on at once. Man, I kind of joked at first, then I got a little more serious. Now I'm starting to think they're just trying to push stuff out to farm whales as much as possible before this kind of fades out. It's a little crazy. A little crazy. Trying to capitalize on the early hype before there's too much talk of, oh, dead game, dying game, and they're just slamming stuff out right now. But I don't know, maybe they're just excited and they want to give us characters and not any resources to pull them, but that's okay. But yeah, this is going to be a look at Loki's kit. Specifically from a free-to-play perspective, I am not spending money on this game. They have shown me nothing to get me to spend money on this game. So this is going to be purely from free-to-play. So a lot of these characters might be good to pull, like Invisible Woman. She's not bad. She's in a lot of teams. I don't know about Mr. Fantastic so much, but even back with like Cap and stuff like that, they are probably good characters to pull, but I'm trying to be super cautious with spending anything here because they're just slamming characters down our throat and I don't want to miss like a really good character. So unless they completely blow me away, they're usually going to be a skip with how limited our resources are. It's kind of tough. So yeah, this is going to be a first look at him. I've seen bits and pieces of his kit, just random videos that they had tweeted out and stuff like that. I didn't really look too much into it. But yeah, this will be kind of a first look for me. Funny enough, one of the things I did see, I was saying it'd be interesting if we had some sort of tank that like did some kind of projection of a tank, and that was what did the tanking. They just kind of sat in the back lines and they had like a projected tank. I think he sort of does something like that. Maybe not hardcore tanking, but I do believe he summons a decoy or clone, whatever you want to call it, that taunts. So yeah, again, this will be my first look at his kit. So we're going to jump right in here. So Angela and Dream Queen on his banner. Angela, not so great. Dream Queen, I believe people were loving her and then she got nerfed, but now she might be back again. I don't know. But yeah, might be worth starting to consider these other characters because in my other video where we did the Superflow challenge stuff, you do now, there's a 2-part stage at the end where you have to do 2 boss fights. And they're pretty tough and you need a different team for each. You can't use the same team for both. So we're going to have to start putting together 2 like solid teams, which is especially for free to play that don't have a ton of highlights and that kind of thing. It's going to be tough. But anyway, moving on to his kit here. So he is a controller, energy, which I think a lot of people thought he was going to be Mystic or something like that. But nope. Let's start here. We'll start here. We'll take a look at his passive to begin with here. So enemies in the status of wet, electrified, burning, or frozen have their defense reduced by 24%. Now that's actually not too bad, especially with Thor, who's constantly putting out electrified. It would be nice if it was for each of those, but as long as you have one of those on there, Thor obviously does electrified. You've got Storm that does wet. You've got Human Torch that does burning. I think Storm can do frozen as well, but I think you've got to wet them first and then do her 3 cost to freeze them. Either way, wet, electrified, burning, pretty easy to get on there. So yeah, not bad. 24% reduced defense makes them a little bit. I'd rather that than have them not do more damage to me. You know, I'd rather have their defenses reduced so I can do more damage to them. So not a bad passive. Moving on to, we'll just start over here. Got a little bit of a debuff here. So Ice from Jotun. Debuff special damage, deals 448% of Loki's attack as special damage to enemies in the target area and applies frozen. Okay, so there's a way to get frozen. It's an attack, but like, are you really using him as attack? We'll have to see later to see if there's any reason why you'd want to be pumping attack on him to begin with. But typically you're not really using your controllers as damage dealers, so kind of whatever. And nothing really on there. Like, do you really need him applying frozen? Yeah, it activates his passive, but you've got other characters. You've got damage dealers like Thor, like Torch to apply those things anyway. And because it doesn't stack, it's only one of these. You're getting by with those other characters. Mischief summons a clone that continuously taunts enemies. Up to one clone can exist simultaneously. The clone has 20% of Loki's max HP and 100% of his attack and defense. So it's super squishy. So it's going to be a super short taunt. So not tanky like I was talking about. So it's going to be super squishy. It would kind of be nice if it didn't taunt and it was just something that had Loki's attack and defense and could just be extra damage. But again, you're not really using him to do damage, so it's kind of whatever. I have not been a fan of the summon. I assume this counts as a summon since it summons. I have not been a fan of the summon comp in this. It's felt kind of when the clone is defeated, Loki gains 96 ultimate energy. So I don't know what his ult is yet, but it is gaining 96 ult energy when it dies. So it's good that it's got the taunt, and it is squishy, so you can die and get that that 96 ultimate energy somewhat quickly. So moving on to his ult, Fiddle the Fate. Okay. Energy cost 300. So this thing dying will get you almost a third of it. Although this is max level, I don't know what the scaling is going to be. So it's going to be a little bit lower at lower levels. But if you really care, you're going to get them to 100 anyway. Transforms into Destroyer Loki and gains 2 stacks of Strings of Fate, which is what? Normally it tells us. His skills change to Iceberg of Jotun and Harbinger of Ragnarok, consuming 1 stack of Strings of Fate per use. When all Strings of Fate are consumed, Loki reverts to his original form. Okay, so Strings of Fate is just, it's like a stack. It's like a resource, right? So he's gonna get 2 stacks of those, and then he can cast each of these both once each one twice by itself, and then kind of that's it. But I don't know what Harbinger of Ragnarok or Iceberg of Jotun is going to do, and I don't know if we have a way to see it. Maybe we'll see it in the trial thing. It would be nice if you could click this and it would show what that card was, because I assume it turns these cards into that. Yeah. So it would be nice if it showed somewhere like turns into Ice of whatever, Iceberg of Titanic or whatever that shit is. It would be nice if it showed it like here or something, or again if you could just like click on it and see. But yeah, I don't really know what those do, so can't really say on that yet. So we'll move on. This is just his attack. Yeah, it's just his passive basic attack. Frost Giant. When a frozen enemy is present, Destroyer Loki's skill Harbinger of Ragnarok costs 1 less mana. We don't know what it is, so that doesn't really tell me much. I don't know if it costs 3 or 4 or whatever. I don't know if that's good, but now you have to have frozen on there, so you got to make sure something's frozen before you use it. Sounded like a lot of work so far. Cheating Death. When taking fatal damage, retains 1 HP and gains a shield equal to 30% of max HP once per battle. All right. Liar Liar. For each wet, electrified, burning, frozen enemy, Loki's crit rate increases by 5% up to 25%. Again, like, he's a controller. I don't know if you're really using him for damage, so having crit rate is kind of whatever. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm super unimpressed by his kit right now. Obviously, when he turns into Loki or Destroyer Loki, I don't even know if he gains extra stats or anything to make this crazy, but so far, not terribly impressed. Just want to check here and see if maybe... No, not really a way to see anything just yet. Okay. We'll move on to the Soul Saga. I'll start on the Heart side here. So Heart 1, when the Mischief clone is defeated, it deals 200% of its attack as special damage to nearby enemies and applies Frozen for 10 seconds. Not bad if you're throwing those clones out there. They are squishy. They will die quick. And then again, if you're building attack on him, they're going to do 200% of that attack as special damage and apply Frozen. Attack increased by 15%. When Mischief Clone is defeated, other allies also gain ultimate energy. Now, I don't know if that means they're going to gain that exact same ultimate energy. I would assume, since it doesn't specify other words. So everybody gains 96 ultimate energy at max level. But again, that's three extra copies of Loki you need just to get that. Feels like quite the investment. Moving on to Mind 1, dealing damage to frozen enemy increases crit damage by 50%. Again, is he really going to be a damage dealer? I don't know. Energy generation is always nice. When Loki transforms into a Destroyer Loki, attack and defense increased by 25%. Okay, so again, a fairly heavy investment, and you do get that bonus when he goes into Destroyer form. Yeah. Fiddle the Fate gains 1 additional stack of Strings of Fate. I mean, so again, that resource to cast those things in Destroyer form, you're getting 1 extra on top of the 2, so you get 3 total. Seems kind of lackluster for being the final soul, but I don't know. Not terribly impressed right now. So far, this is a very easy skip with no FOMO at all. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Let's jump into the trial. I just want to do this just to see the ultimate form things. Okay, so they got him paired up with Hulk and Emma. So obviously Emma's gonna help with his damage.
I think that's the
so I'm gonna try and focus purely on his stuff. So again, what is this? Deals damage and applies frozen. It's got a big area. That's nice. It's nice. That's like ult size. That's like Thor. That's like Sentry. That's like Storm. That's their ult size. Human Torch. That's a good size. Normally these attacks, like their basic skills, are usually that smaller kind of inner bit here. So that's nice.
Perfect for you.
Well, that's decent damage, I guess. For level, what are we, 30 stuff? 50? Seems all right. I think that stuff was soul stuff, right? Getting bonuses if things are frozen. Whatever. We're just trying to see what our abilities here are.
The real fun starts now. This shall be new.
Okay, now we got to clear this stuff so we can actually see it, though.
Who's next?
Oh no! Oh no! Are we actually gonna get it? Aim it that way. Don't kill stuff. Okay, here we go. Here's one thing. Iceberg of Jotun. Deals 476% of Destroyer Loki's attack and special damage to enemies in the target area and applies Frozen. Okay, so you can apply Frozen in this form as well. So that's nice. But again, you can only cast these twice. I don't know if he just stays in this form the whole time.
Guess who's on the naughty list?
And then there's the other one, which is Harbinger of Ragnarok. Deals 896% of Destroyer Loki's attack and special damage to enemies in the target area and deals 30% more damage to frozen enemies. Okay, so you can like freeze stuff with that and then hit them all pretty big with the other. Oh, okay, so this is cheaper. I don't know if I thought that was a soul thing, but that might be a level thing. I don't remember.
I'll seal your fate.
There was some damage there. I don't know. I can't say I'm terribly impressed. I can't hit any of that.
A queen can use a pawn.
I cannot say that I am all that impressed with what we're seeing so far.
Diamond is forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's some controllers out there that are a little more damagey. Like maybe Spider-Man, Moon Knight. I don't know. I don't remember any of the attack numbers, but that in that destroyer form, that 890 whatever percent, that's a lot of attack. So if you do build attack, it does feel like he's more of a damage dealer. Which I mean is, I guess, an interesting change. I guess controller doesn't have to be a supporty type character, right? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stuff you have to do to get things to work, though. Is the problem. But yeah, who knows? Maybe he could be a really good damage dealer if you just go all in on the his attack. And then he does have that energy generation built in. If you do invest in him and you get multiple copies of him, you can pass that energy along to the rest of your team as well. But yeah, again, it feels like one of those things. I'm not super impressed. I can't do enough testing with what I have here to see if his damage dealing potential is enough. You know, to rival like the Scarlet Witches and stuff like that. Yeah, unfortunately that's going to be something that the whales are going to have to figure out for you guys. Personally, again, I have to be so stingy and, like Nettie's, stingy with my resources, and be very picky and selective with what I pull on, unless I hear something crazy about him. And even then, it does feel like you have to invest multiple copies to kind of get him to a better spot. Actually, you know what? Let's take a quick look at Scarlet Witch just to see. I just want to see if she's got anything percentage-wise that might rival Loki. What's her damage numbers here? 696. Okay, so her Loki's destroyer form attack is quite a bit higher. It's about 200% higher. It's actually higher than her ult as well. Although then this does additional damage to the center, so single target, that's gonna just smoke stuff. Loki's is completely AoE, and it's a fairly big AoE, so that's kind of nice. But I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of juggling and stuff you have to do with him. You got to make sure things are frozen, then you get that extra damage and that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It could be interesting to see him as a really good damage dealer. But I don't know. I feel like we have enough special attackers that are solid where it's probably better to just hold off and wait for something. Again, that's completely amazing. I think the biggest thing with him is, again, if you get those copies, you're going to get that ultimate energy to your entire team, which could be pretty damn good, and have that kind of ultimate battery effect. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little more impressed seeing that big number with his destroyer form, but still not enough to get me to pull on him. But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Any whales out there that have pulled for him, see what you think. Let me know. I'm curious. Again, it's hard for me as a free-to-play to do these videos and have really good testing on these characters, because I can't pull on these. I don't have the resources. One day I might save up enough to guarantee a pull on something really good, and then I can do a video where I talk about them maxed out and everything. But until then, just kind of my initial thoughts here and what I see. Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably going to be something I pass on again, unless I hear something crazy. But yeah, be curious to see what you guys say. But thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, hopefully got some insight on that. But I will catch you all in the next one.